over 100 green connectors, and the 5 ways to wellbeing connectors is just something that we quickly put together, and we've trained up a few across Somerset, and really it's just a way of passing on the message of what the 5 ways to wellbeing is. But at the end of this training, hopefully you'll feel that you'll be able to just know this information yourself, but also pass it on to other people. So that's the connector bit of it. So yeah, my name's Jenny, and I run a social prescribing and health coaching service across Mendip. So we have a team which works in all the GP practices in Mendip, and you've got similar across Somerset and the areas that you're in. You'll have similar services, which are social prescribing and health coaching services. And the connector model that we do, we've shared in this country and abroad, and it's really, really simple. So we've got connectors in Australia, Canada, America, Finland, Sweden, and the reason they picked it up is because it's really, really simple. It doesn't involve being a volunteer. It's just active citizens doing stuff and being part of a movement. So hopefully today you'll become part of that movement. So like physical health, we can all benefit from looking after our mental health. When practiced regularly, these things that we're going to talk about build resilience, boost well-being, and offer some protection from developing mental health problems. They're beneficial for everyone, whether you have a mental health problem or not. And they're basically 5 a day for mental well-being. We're all used to the NHS sort of promoting 5 a day, sort of fruit and vegetables, and this is the same thing, but if you have mental well-being. And we're all on that mental sort of well-being continuum. There's not that start of you are sort of don't have mental health. All of our lives, we all have mental health, and we're all on that continuum somewhere. So research has identified that 5 things we can do to support us, and these are the 5 ways to wellbeing. They are really easy, they are really simple, you know them already, you do them already, but sometimes sort of putting things on a sort of from a toolkit into what do you call those places where you put your tools? Anyway, putting them within a structure really helps. And it was developed by the New Economics Foundation a long, long time ago. And sort of people have picked it up because it is so simple. So the 5 ways to wellbeing are give, keep learning, take notice, be active, and connect. As I say, these things you do every day, but let's see and put them within this structure. So if we look at being active, I'm just going to move the screen thing here. Getting physically active every day is great for our bodies and our minds and can improve mental well-being, lower rates of depression, anxiety. But it's all about discovering a physical activity to enjoy that suits you and your level of mobility or fitness. So often people say, okay, be active, take exercise, and people switch off straight away because they think, well, I can't, I'm housebound, and I'm not going to go out jogging. So it's really about encouraging people to see that being active can be anything. You know, you can do it from sitting in your chair. It's about moving from being sedentary to not being sedentary, if that's where you are at the stage. When you see that person, often we are within our service, you know, we're working with people who have very sort of sedentary lifestyles, and it's about just shifting it up just one stage. So things you could do: go for a walk or run, step outside, cycle, play a game, garden, dance, try seated yoga, or just stand up from your desk once every hour, or you know, get up and make a cup of tea, or dance when you're doing the washing up, or whatever it be. So this is where you in the room, so I can't see you, but if you don't mind shouting out ways that you're active.
So can anyone suggest any ways that you can be active?
Or the ways that you're already doing it, so what you do to keep active yourselves.
I'm chasing the children at work.
Chasing the children at work? Are you a teacher?
I am.
All right, great. Okay, so for the teachers ones that for the kids one teaches, once again it's that message of it's not about having to do exercises and star jumps, and it's about it's just about moving, keeping our bodies moving. I'm thinking that maybe with all the with the screen turning and things like that, maybe we should just miss out this bit of sharing a story bit, and I'll just carry on without these bits in the slides because it's going to be challenging. Okay, so but if you wanted to take on, because what we can do is we can share this PowerPoint with you, and then if you were doing this with other people at this stage, you would just ask them sort of what they do to improve their mood by being active. In your areas, like in Mendip, so for the Beckington person, our website, Health Connections Mendip, has a list on our directory of all the ways you can get active. Whether it's active at home booklet, which is literally about being active at home, Couch to 5K, sort of NHS downloadable program. People are now saying that it shouldn't be about 10,000 steps a day, but it should be about 10 minutes of activity in 3 blocks. So you can sort of download apps that help you measure that. Or also, you probably all know, across Somerset, there are the health walks, which are really easy ways that people can get involved, make friends, meet other people, and go for a health walk. So it's about signposting people to activities that are suitable for them, but also, most importantly, knowing where you can find out that information. So in Mendip, as I say, we've got our website, Health Connections Mendip, where we've got a directory of all the groups out there, whether it's a gardening group, a running group, or whether it's resources like these booklets or the apps. It's all there in one place. So I'm sure that you probably know in your area, but if you don't, really find out where that point is in your community. As Becky from Open Mental Health is there for sort of mental health and wellbeing, I think you've got a directory for the sort of mental health and wellbeing activities. But Becky can tell you about that afterwards. So keep learning, exploring new ideas, seeking out new experiences, and sharpening our skills positively stimulates the brain. Learning improves self-esteem, keeps us connected, improved, and involved, and helps us adapt and change and find meaning in our lives. It's also been shown to help prevent depression in later years. Once again, people think, okay, this is about doing a course. It's about having to go to university. No, it's not. It's about sort of setting yourself a challenge which you'll enjoy achieving. So it could be just trying something new, or rediscovering an old interest, signing up for a course, learning about those around you. So talking to your friends, family, neighbours and strangers and learning about them. Fixing something in your house. During lockdown, I learned how to change taps, and I learned on a YouTube video, and then I passed that on to my boys, and they did a silly video of them changing the taps and the water all sort of spurting out. But it was just fun. It was fun for me to learn, fun for me to teach them. Trying a new recipe or taking a new route to work. So that's sort of how we can be curious about our kind of definition of what learning is. And then if you were to doing this training yourself, which, as I say, I can share with others, you would share a story here about what you do to learn. Once again, in order to signpost people effectively onto other things, you need to know where to signpost them. So on our website and in your areas, as I say, you'll have something similar. We have links to the Zero Suicide Alliance suicide awareness training. Absolutely fantastic, really short training, just to sort of empower us to know that if we talk to people about thoughts of sort of suicide or it's okay, it doesn't make them commit suicide. But anyway, I'm not an expert, but that training is fantastic for you to do. Learn My Way is a really great place where you can signpost people to learn about how to use a keyboard, a mouse, how to sign up for universal credit, and also maybe learning how to use the NHS app. So imagine if you said to someone, there's this really great app you can sign up for, you can order your repeat prescriptions, you can book GP appointments, you can check your symptoms and your medical record, really easy to do, And if you signpost them to that, what an amazing gift you might be able to give them. And lots of people know about it, but lots of people don't. So in that kind of learning part of the 5 ways, once again, it's about learning yourself. So doing this training here, signing up to Learn My Way, maybe getting the NHS app yourself, or a myriad of other things that you might want to do, but then passing that on to other people, that gift of passing on that learning to others. Giving, carrying out acts of kindness, whether small or large, can increase happiness, life satisfaction, and general sense of well-being. It can also contribute to the well-being of the person to whom you are giving. So it's good for you in giving to other people, and it's good for that person who's receiving. And it's more than just about sharing material things with others. It's about cultivating a spirit of generosity and actively supporting others. In Frome recently, we had a kindness festival. So there was a whole week of kindness activities that were going on, which were about sort of giving time, yourself, a smile, whatever it be. So doing something nice for a stranger or a friend, thanking someone, smiling, volunteering your time, join a community group, or doing pay it forwards, which is where you buy a tea or coffee for yourself and you just give an extra £3 and you say, pass it on to the next person or whoever you want to pass it on to. And across Mendip, we've got pay it forward stickers where we go around shops. So we've got garden centres, art shops, bakeries, bookshops, where people can buy a book, for example, and they put an extra £5 in the pot. And then at another time when someone hasn't got money for a book, they can give a book for free because that person's given it previously. So really simple things that you can implement, even if one of your months is something to do with give in the future. You could just go to your local cafe and say, do you do pay it forwards? Maybe they don't. You can tell them about it, and then you can be the first person to give £3 for the next person to buy their coffee. So it's about us having that ability to make changes in our community by setting up these small little ideas and things. And then, so some ways that you could do this sort of giving part of it is there's a movement called Rectivists, and Rectivists are random acts of kindness activists. So there are 33,000 Rectivists across the world, and you just sign up and you can get inspired by different people's ideas. And it's really nice things, especially the teacher out there. You know, if all your kids that you're working say, I'm a Ractivist, and they go back to their parents and they say, I'm a Ractivist, and it just helps them feel like they've kind of got a label to say, yeah, I'm someone who's out there sort of doing good things. And also in Mendip, we've got these postcards that we used during lockdown. We gave them to the school kids and they wrote those to their friends that were at home. So the people at school wrote them to them at home and vice versa. So just a nice way of little simple ideas of kind of keeping in touch and being kind and giving. Take notice. So paying more attention to the present moment, to your thoughts and feelings and the world around you can boost mental well-being. Reflecting on your experiences will help you appreciate what matters to you. So it's about being curious, catching sight of the beautiful, remark on the unusual, notice the changing seasons, savor the moment, whether you're walking to work, eating lunch or talking to friends, and counting your blessings. So that thing about counting your blessings when you go to bed and in the morning is just a great way to kind of press that reset on your day and just set it up to sort of recognizing the good things that you've got in your day. So once again, on our Health Connections Mendip website, we've got links to taking notice to one's breathing. So taking notice, as we saw just then, isn't just about what's out there. Often it's about ourselves and how we're feeling. So doing some mindful sort of breathing, you can find on our website, but also NHS recommends that as well. So you can take, if you find this link here, NHS 1U, it has taking time to relax, which has got a really good sort of guided meditation on sort of breathing. So that's what noticing ourselves, but also noticing those around us, like our pets, and noticing how great it is when we actually have those connections. I don't have a dog, but I'm desperate for a dog, and it really makes me feel happier when I kind of see one in the park and talk to one. And also just noticing those beautiful, amazing sort of landscape that we have around us in Somerset. And then the sort of kind of bit that I'm most interested in is kind of the connect part of building connections with colleagues, friends, family, and others will support and enrich you every day. It also builds a support network for when times are tough. Being connected is associated with good mental health and well-being. So there are the different levels of connection. There's connecting with ourselves and having quiet moments. Often when we say connect, we think of that external connection, but just giving ourselves time to count our blessings, to do breathing, to just asking ourselves, how do I feel today? Connecting with our circles of support, so connecting with our friends, our family and our neighbours, and just noticing, are we tapping into those? Do we feel those need enhancing or giving a bit of attention to? Connecting with our community in whatever way that might be. It might be doing something like joining a health walk or going to play cricket, or it might just be about saying hello to somebody in the park. So we've started with the first one, which is connecting to yourself. Then that next layer out, connecting with your circle support, then connecting with your community, and then connecting with nature, pets or animals. And then that wider connection of having a sense of purpose and belonging and meaning in our lives, which is important to us all, and that will be different to everyone. But I think that's a connecting bit. Often we kind of minimize the importance of it by just thinking it's just making a connection from one person to another, but it's far richer than that. On our website again, so as I said, across Somerset or whichever area you're in, you'll have similar websites which have information of how to connect. So if someone has macular degeneration, you can go onto our website and find out about the Macular Society. We started off the talking cafes in 2013, and now those other organisations have taken some of those out in different areas of Somerset, but we've got talking cafes where people connect. Places like Mindline Somerset, obviously the lady here from Open Mental Health will be very familiar with that. Befriending organisations where you can connect and make friends. Websites like SAS, where you can find out about activity and sports in your area. I imagine with your cricket club, you're probably on SASP. And also we've got a resources section where you can find out, have booklets on things like the 5 ways to wellbeing, planning ahead for end of life, where you can connect with your thoughts and feelings about what you might want to do about your end of life, through to growing activities and healthy lifestyles programs. So that connecting yourself to information and connecting others, once again, it's super important that you know where you can find out that information. We have, as I said, we have our talking cafes. So in Mendip, we have 2 in Frome a week. I think we have 1 in Beckington, Colford, Glastonbury Street, Wells and Shepton. During lockdown, because people couldn't come into our talking cafes, we set up these things called talking benches. One day every week for the same half hour outside the library in Frome, and now we've got them in other areas of Mendip, we are there as a point of reference for people in the community, as a kind of bit of an anchor. People come to us just to have a chat and a smile, and sometimes people come to us because they're feeling pretty desperate and they don't know where to go. And so I say to my team, it doesn't matter, even if we only see one day because it's thick snow or pouring with rain. If we see one person, that's fine. But often we'll speak to sort of 20 or 30 people in that half hour. But it's really sort of taken off as something that's really, really useful to do. So I don't know whether in your areas you've got something similar to that, but might be useful to look into or interesting. And then also with that connecting part of it, we've got the community connectors, which I mentioned before. So we've got 1,800 community connectors, and they have 36,000 signposting conversations a year. So our community connectors are people like you, trained up with 1 hour training to be able to say to people, I know what's out there, rather than if only I'd known that. So it's about somebody coming to sit next to you on a park bench, and maybe their husband has just had a stroke, and you say to that woman, listen, I know there is support out there. I don't know where the stroke support group is, but this is how you find out about that information. And you pass on the information of your local kind of social prescribing type service or whatever's most appropriate in your area. As I say, we've got digital connectors, warm home connectors, healthy lifestyles connectors, green health connectors, and we've got people who've trained up who are postmen, doctors, taxi drivers, hairdressers, people who are housebound who will never talk to anyone. It doesn't matter. It's just about passing that information on to one person. And if they pass that on to others, that's great. For the person who's in Mendip, I'm very happy to do community connector training for you and your colleagues or whoever's in your area who might be interested. So just going on to a little bit about what happens when we do these 5 ways to wellbeing. So when we're connecting with other people, we benefit from raised oxytocin. When we're working towards an achievement or doing a meaningful activity, then our dopamine system is activated. And after we've exercised or done the activity, we'll have raised serotonin and endorphins. So these 5 ways to wellbeing for some people might seem fluffy and obvious, and why do we bother? Well, we bother because it does actually make a difference, and we do actually do it. And for some people, doing it and recognizing and clocking the fact that they're doing it gives them a real sense of kind of, okay, I'm doing something for my mental well-being. I'm doing these 5 ways to well-being every day, and I'm noticing that I'm doing them. And that's a way for people to be able to feel that they are looking after themselves and they do have self-efficacy to do something for themselves. And maybe for some people, it stops them feeling so sort of hopeless and that they haven't got anything that they can do to change their situation. I'm not undermining the fact and saying that there are lots of people who do feel hopeless and aren't able to do something, but just these little things that might encourage people, you never know, might really help. And obviously what we do, so let's say we do count our blessings in the morning, can affect the way we think. So that might make us feel slightly more positive during the day. And if we feel more positive during the day, it might make us do something to look after ourselves. The same thing, let's say we smile at somebody else, so we're thinking about the connecting, then that smile might come back to us, which then makes us think, oh, that person's nice, and makes us feel slightly more part of our community, and that might make us do something different. So this kind of wheel sort of goes round and round, it might be what we do, it might be we start the day thinking, actually, if I do my 5 ways to well-being today, that is going to help me. So that thought then might make you feel stronger and more able to do different kind of things. So you start anywhere on this kind of wheel here. And sort of this is just more of the sort of information on this kind of thing and how it can be good for us. So this is from the Health Foundation. Positive relationships and networks are a foundation for good health. Community cohesion and connection, once again, good for our health. Opportunities for social participation, so what you do with your cricket, great, but also knowing now that you could, in your area, where to signpost people to find that information about other activities. And shared ownership and empowerment, so even feeling that you're part of a movement of, let's say, 5 ways to wellbeing connectors, or you're all health champions, makes you feel that you are empowered to do something to make a difference. And people with stronger networks are healthier and happier. You might have seen the information from somebody which says that there's a risk of mortality, that so often we focus on things like weight, BMI, alcohol status, smoking, but actually having strong connections is the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So i.e. if you have low social connections or connections with yourself, not just out there, but with your friends, family, neighbours, it's the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Anyway, I haven't said that clearly, but I think you get it. Also, the Mental Health Foundation explains the huge benefits to you from helping your community, as you all are now as champions. So acts of kindness reduces your stress and improves your mood. So all by doing what you're doing with your cricket is acts of kindness, because you're giving your time, you're giving your energy to other people. Helping others strengthens social connections, which are essential to well-being. Connecting with members of your community increases a sense of belonging for all. So you probably all know that, but actually how powerful can it be if you can pass that on to other people? And it might not, as I say, necessarily be about getting involved in cricket, but if you can pass on your story of how it's really helped you to other people, they might feel empowered to go and get involved in something that really interests them. And being part of the solution can increase your feelings of optimism, confidence, and control. So what can you do? Even if you stick this up on your fridge, or this one, you know, Google 5 ways to wellbeing, stick it up on your fridge, or pass it on to others and explain to them kind of what the 5 ways to wellbeing are. Maybe give yourself a challenge saying, okay, on Monday I'm going to focus on this, Tuesday that, Wednesday that, Thursday that, and Friday that, and just give it a go. Or I don't know, the teacher there, do it with your school, you know, give them that challenge in an assembly. And I think the most important bit of it is that it makes us feel that we can do something simple, and if we really clock that and register that, it kind of tops up that feeling of we can do things for ourselves to help ourselves feel better. So just recapping: give, keep learning, take notice, be active, and connect. And basically I'm saying here, but this is really for a different group of people, but are you ready to be a 5 ways to wellbeing connector? And if you are, all it is clocking that information yourself, so putting it into your own lives, but also, if you can, passing it on to other people. So that is it. And I will stop sharing. There you go.
Right. Thank you, Jenny. Does anyone have any questions at all for Jenny while she's here?
You start when you find a problem, or do you start just by advertising? Does that make sense?
Did you hear that question,
No.
Jenny? So the question was, in terms of the 5 ways of wellbeing, David asked about where do you start? Do you start simply by trying to promote the 5 ways to wellbeing, or do you need to have like an issue or a problem first to implement the 5 ways to wellbeing?
If I were in the group, I would bounce that back to the group and say, what do they think? But I'm not going to do that. But obviously, the 5 ways to wellbeing is for anyone to implement however they want. So you take charge of it. It's 5 ways to wellbeing are what we all do anyway. The New Economics Foundation just put it in a nice little sort of 5 ways to wellbeing graphic and did all the sort of research behind it. But it belongs to you. You do whatever you want with it.
Sorry.
Did you get that?
So, sorry. Can you just repeat that? Messing around with the speakers, I turned it off and then it makes an awful noise. Sorry. Can you repeat?
I was going to say that the 5 ways to wellbeing belong to all of us. They don't belong to the New Economics Foundation. There are no rules around them. So do whatever you want. You know, you decide how you want, you know, whether it's just you sticking it up in the fridge and you think, yeah, that reminds me to eat my 5 fruit and veg a day, but to do my 5 sort of things that might help my mental well-being every day. You could stand in the street and pass those out to people and explain to people about it. You could give it to the people in your cricket club. You could do whatever. You know, I've seen that Steve's got his monthly program, you know, and I noticed there was the suicide prevention thing. So you don't need to even talk necessarily about the 5 ways to well-being. You just use that as a structure that you can plan your activities around, or always kind of touch base with it and say, okay, in creating this activity, are we looking at those 5 ways to wellbeing somehow? Are we connecting? Are we giving? Are we learning? Are we taking notice? Are we keeping active in kind of whatever we do? And I think more often than not, you'll see the answer is yes. So as I say, it's up to you. that they don't belong to anyone, these 5 ways to wellbeing. They belong to us all.
No, I think that's everything, Jenny. Thank you for that. We're going to have a discussion about the 5 ways to wellbeing now anyway, so all that leads in quite nicely. So yeah, thank you very much for your time.
Brilliant. Thank you. And I'd be super keen to connect with the Beckington person. And there's lots of stuff potentially we could do together. And also just to say that 1 day a week I work for NASP, the National Academy for Social Prescribing. Within NASP, I have colleagues in Natural England, Sports England, and Heritage England, and we're looking at this kind of connector type training. So it would be amazing. Maybe you want to have cricket club connectors, or and you can pass on the benefits of being involved in cricket. So there are lots of opportunities of ways, whether it's nationally or locally, that we might be able to continue this connection.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. And I'll speak to Eston at the end, and then if he's happy, then I'll certainly connect the pair of you, and then we can have a discussion later on. Great. Brilliant.
Okay. All right, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. Great. Guys, do you want to take a couple minutes just to grab yourselves a drink? If you need to use the toilet, you can do. I'm just going to stop this and then set up the next thing that sort of links into that. Is that okay? Thank you very much. There's tea and coffee as well if you want to help yourself.